Man, you gotta put him on. Right now.
All right.
Call number 9. Night.
All right, we got another good one, Coach. We got another HBCU coach on here.
Oh yeah, Cole, I gotta get that lighting good, man. Get on the, when you get old, baby.
We know you're a model, Coach. Go on, get your light right, Coach.
Hey, when you're old, baby, you need a little light, baby, a little light.
All right, I'd like to welcome everyone to HBCU Coaches Corner. I am Rocky Miller, the co-host, along with our featured host, none other than Johnny Cole. My main man, my partner in crime, Mr. Campbell, is not able to make it right now due to circumstances beyond his control. But I believe he's going to be with us on our second show tonight with Reggie Barlow. So just hold on tight, and we're going to shut this stream down, and then we're going to come back on, and we will have Coach Barlow on with us. He's going to be on the new head coach at Tennessee State, coach, one of your old stomping grounds. Coach Barlow's going to be on with us starting at 9 o'clock as well, Coach. But before we get all that underway, Coach Cole, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm good, man. Just came off a two-week spring break. You know, we got one of them all around school schedule, and you get 2 weeks in the fall, 2 weeks in the winter, and then you got 2 weeks in the spring. And so, man, it was a great 2 weeks. I got a chance to go up to Vegas and do Vegas, and then got a chance to go to Portland and see my son. And, that was big, and see my brother. And then I just took a me trip, a household trip, vacation out in Rosarito, Mexico. And man, that was great for me. I needed some soul searching, and had an opportunity to visit some people to go in your brain and see how you're thinking and see where you are in your life. So that was very important. So I'm back. I'm fresh. Had a first day of school. Got to see my youngins. So everything is well, and I'm looking forward to the show tonight.
Hey, Coach, they were saying I'm echoing. Hopefully you don't hear me echoing, do you, Coach?
I sure don't.
All right, hopefully my sound is better now. Coach, we got a very special guest on tonight. I'll let you do the honors of doing the introduction, but this is a guy that and I know Campbell wanted to be here. This is one of his favorite guys in the SWAC, being that he's a Rattler himself. A guy that he really, when Willie Simmons stepped down, he was one that told us that Colzie was the guy. Coach Colzie was the guy for the job. And so I know he really wished he could be here. He was looking forward to having dialogue with Coach Colzie. But again, due to circumstances beyond his control, he's not going to be able to make it. But with no further ado, Coach, who we got coming up next?
Man, look, hey, this guy, I'll take 74. He took over from a national championship team, a lot of pressure coming in, even though he was on the staff. If you don't know, take 74, you don't know nothing about football. And being at one of the Blueberry programs in the country, the only HBCU school that ever won a national championship in one way, not a black national championship, a championship, but also been on a black national championship team. And what can you say about Florida A&M football? It's one of the upper echelons, not just in black college football, but in one way football. Coach Colzie, head football coach. What's up, Coach?
Not a lot, man. How you guys doing?
Man, doing well. Look, are you coming from practice, or you just kind of representing the night?
Well, I mean, we go early in the morning, and so we early in the morning. Then we staff at 2, and then we allow our guys to come watch film afterwards. So, Even though you go early in the morning, you still seem to be getting home at night, at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. But yeah, I do. I just got home and getting ready to go, lay it down in a little bit and then get back going because we'll staff tomorrow morning. So we practice Tuesday, Thursday, Friday morning. And and then we come in on Mondays and Wednesdays. We come in at 9:30. So just trying to get ourselves going. And we just had practice 5 today. So we're almost right in the middle.
Yeah. Well, Coach, playing at Florida State, being an outstanding player and playing in an outstanding program, and being a part of Willie Simmons' national championship, which you played a role in, and you took over the job. And sometimes, Coach, this, people don't understand. It's tough going back to back. You know what I mean? It's even tough getting there.
Right.
But 7-4, man, I take that, Coach. I take that all day long. I can name you 5 schools that take 7-4, and you probably played against them. Well, they ain't hit 7-4 in 20 or 30 or 40 years. So I want to make sure our audience understand that you put some work in.
Well, I appreciate that. Obviously, you're coming off a national championship, and you want to try to win another one, right? Everybody wants to go that route, but I think we did. We had some things that happened to us, throughout the transition for myself and trying to keep that team the way we need it to be. But I'm also a big fan of no excuses, right? I mean, I thought we had the pieces to have the opportunity to run it back. But I think at the end of the day, right, excited to lead one of the best programs in the country. Excited to get ourselves back going, for this upcoming season because I'm excited about what we have, and obviously excited about my new staff, and it's excited to be a part of the number 1 HBCU in the country.
Hey, Coach, it's often said that a player's growth, whether it's at the college or at the pro level, happens between their first and their second year. Is coaching kind of that same way? I know you had been a head coach before, but at this level, do you think that there's significant growth you individually can make as a coach between your first and your second year here at FAMU?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think a lot of my growth has happened during the first year, not necessarily in between, but just during the first year, right? I mean, my first 2 years, right, I was knee deep into what we were doing defensively, right? Helping with game plan and helping with our special teams, and and it was a daily grind with my individual players that I met with, all the time. Where as my first year as a head coach, you got things that you didn't normally do, right? You got Monday morning you got the SWAC meeting. Tuesday morning you're with the alumni. Wednesday you're meeting with the 220 club. Thursday you got your meetings with production, right? So I had to take a step back with a lot of the game planning that we normally did, and had to learn to be the head coach at Florida A&M. Learn the time frame. Learn where maybe I could get myself involved in what we're doing offensively, defensively, and special teams wise. So it gave me the opportunity to step back about how I wanted things to look, for this upcoming year. But there was a lot of things, again, obviously, as the head coach, that you had to do weekly compared to what I had to do the first 2 years as the defensive back coach and the assistant head coach. So as the defensive back guy, myself and Coach Morgan, we always had time, in 22 and 23 to sit down and talk about routes, right? Well, last year I was trying to talk to alumni and raise funds and things like that. So there was just some different things, and I understood why Coach Simmons in 22 and 23 was not maybe around, right? Because he was doing things that he needed to do as the head football coach of Florida A&M.
Well, and I'm gonna let Coach Cole jump back in here. One of the cool things I saw, Coach, was on August 24th, 2024. We made the trip to Atlanta to watch you guys play what I thought was a pretty stout Norfolk State team. And as when right before you guys took the field for warmups, you were able to briefly meet with us, and you met with us briefly. But I saw you on the field working with the DBs directly, kind of DBs, linebackers, with doing passing drills. I thought that was really, really cool to see a head coach out there doing drills with the players. Coach Cole thought it was really cool too, but he noticed as a head coach that really sometimes that would take away from preparation, so to speak. But it seemed like you were having a ball out there doing it and working with the fellas. Coach, is there a balance there of being hands-on and being in charge that,
Well, when you told me that night, I mean, that was more of, those guys wanted me to do that because that's what I had already done. I'd always done for them over the last 2 years, I'm sitting there trying to figure out the right time to go see the other head coach, and he's trying to figure out the right time to come see me. We never had an actual, we met, before, but you got that awkward moment of when you guys are supposed to meet right before every game, and he's looking for me, and I'm throwing balls to the corners. You know what I mean? I just thought it was, the guys asked me, before the games, like, hey, coach, are you going to still do what you normally do before the games? And I was like, I didn't really think about it, but my players asked me to do it, so I was like, you know what? Then I'm gonna do it, right? So then I just kept on doing it for the remainder of the year. But there is that balance, right? I'm the head football coach at Florida A&M. I'm not the corners coach anymore. I'm not the assistant head coach anymore. And that balance I had to understand. It just didn't automatically happen. I had to understand it. I had to go through it, and I can tell you, man, I learned something every week. As the head football coach at Florida, and I'm still learning, right? It's not something that you just after 12 weeks you have it on you have it perfectly done, but it's just something hey, there is that balance, yes, but I still love being around my guys as well.
Yeah. Well, coming off the year, you lost some coaches. Of course, we're gonna get in the recruiting side, but I know how important your assistants are to you, and I know you lost some and you brought some. You want to talk about, you get your opportunity to talk about, who you lost, of course, and who you brought in.
Well, I mean, while taking over the role, right, we didn't necessarily have the opportunity, especially with the timing. You're coming in late January, and you're trying to keep the staff and the continuity as much as you can, right? But I also got a chance to work with the staff, right? So, I think that, for me, I needed my message just to be a little more clear, whether it was offensively or defensively. I was able to bring in some guys that I have been around since 1999. I first start off, I got to start off with Kevin Maurice, who's my recruiting coordinator and running back coach, who's been one of the best with North Carolina Central over the last 3 or 4 years. Well, our relationship goes so far back that I was actually the one who recruited him to FIU in 1999. You know what I mean? And it was when talking about my staff, it was just about the relationships that I built over my career. Kevin Weston, who's my special teams coordinator and my nickels coach. Well, he was on the Norfolk State staff, but him and I battled against each other in 2008, 2009 when I was at West Georgia and he was at Tusculum. So it's these are guys that over time, and we've all been in this business, right? You got your staff is going to be consistent of people that that people that that very, very well, or you're going to take the advice of a coach that you do know, or you're going to take the recommendation of of another coach that you really, really trust. So, we came in offensively. We made the change. Obviously we promoted Coach Burris. The week of the Florida Classic, where I promoted him to be in our play caller. Well, then the last 2 games, our offense looked exactly how I wanted it to look. So, promoting him to being the offensive coordinator and the quarterback's coach officially. Then I was able to bring in Kevin Maurice, as I mentioned, and then I was, in my opinion, able to bring in one of the best offensive line coaches in the country. We go to North Carolina Central. We get Cedric Williams to come in and be our co-OC, right, offensive line coach, run game coordinator. Those Coach Maurice and Coach Williams have been working hand in hand and producing some of the best offenses, not just in HBCU, but just in the country. So it was important to get those 2 guys, and then then I, was able to get Vincent Jeffries, to be my wide receivers coach. He was at University of Illinois as a GA, and then went to Western Illinois as the wide receiver coach this past year. But I think another big thing with him was he played at Florida A&M. He played quarterback at Florida A&M, and I think it's always important to have that ability to bring somebody back to a program that that he's played for, and that obviously that he loves, right? So that is consistent of what we got on the offensive side. My defensive coordinator is blessed with the opportunity to go work for the Patriots. So then I had to kind of scramble a little bit to try to find the right guy. And I think the biggest thing for me was in trying to find a defensive coordinator. I wanted to get a guy that was gonna, just kind of update our schemes a little bit. Do a little bit more. He needed to be a linebacker coach, first and foremost, to go along with his coordinator experience. I haven't announced him yet because we're still going through everything HR-wise, but he will be announced. But the things that we were looking for was a definite linebacker coach, a coordinator, a guy with defensive coordinator experience, especially at the FBS level. So he's finishing up and he's doing a great job. Brought in Coach Weston, as I mentioned, to be my special teams coordinator, to go along and still be my nickels coach. Coach Walker is still with us as the defensive line coach, and Coach Pope, who was our defensive back coach last year, he's still with us. And then I also brought in a defensive ends coach who we'll announce him tomorrow as well. So staff is filled. We got everybody that we want. They're just kind of fine-tuning some of the HR things before we can completely announce them. But, again, I'm excited with my staff. It's just, in my opinion, it's more reflective of who would be working with me, hopefully, over the next few years.
Coach, I mean, and I'm not kidding about 7-4. 7-4 is a good football record for anybody. But, just you talking about, you got the job, you had coaches that went through the threshold with you, you had to, have some, feel for them as well, not to put, because you've been there before. You told us about your background, how you went. And I commend you for that, but now this James Colzie staff now, and and we're moving to the recruiting part. These guys know because they've worked with you. You guys talk about what type of program you want, and most of all, what type of kids that you want to come through there.
Right. I mean, we've had our discussions, right? I want you to be comfortable with who you're coaching, and then throughout the process, as far as, courting them or interviewing them, we had those discussions, right? Now, again, I thought we did a really, really good job in bringing in our portal guys earlier this year. If you guys remember last year, we lost a lot of guys, in the portal, and we weren't able to bring in very many people in January because, we didn't know what the direction we were going to be going in, right? So, and then we brought in, quite a few guys during the summer, which ultimately, might not have been the best timing as far as bringing those guys in at that time. So, right. As we went through the process, this past December, the biggest thing was whoever we brought in, we wanted to bring them in January. So we ended up signing 19 guys, via the transfer portal. And then, in my opinion, we did a really, really good job of signing some foundational pieces during that signing period that everyone kind of forgets about in February.
Yeah. Coach, I'm going to take you to one sour place. I want to get it in and get it out. Florida A&M don't lose to Mississippi Valley State.
No doubt. Absolutely.
And late in that season, did you have a lot of injuries after y'all had lost and felt like, oh man, we not going to be able to represent? You failed one game. Did that carry over to another game? Was it injuries? Tell us kind of go through that a little bit. Coach, I've been there before. I remember I had lost to Tuskegee, and I knew after that game, I said, damn, we don't lost the national championship game, and we ended up finishing number 2 because of that loss. But kind of take us through that little bit, because your audience want to know.
Well, I think I might have said it that day during the press conference. when we go through our job descriptions as far as our main responsibilities for every coach, and I'm the first page, and when it says James Colzie's responsibilities, right, and the very first thing that's on that sheet in regards to the responsibility for James Colzie is be responsible for all losses. That's my first thing. And so, at the end of the day, I know Mississippi Valley they were going through some turmoil, as and I think they had lost a player. It was either that week or maybe the week before, and they came in and played inspired ball, and and we did not, right? And I think for us, we learned a valuable lesson that and we talked throughout the year that just primarily because we are Florida A&M, we're going to get everyone's best, right? And Mississippi Valley came out and gave their best. We did not. We let them hang around a little bit, and then at the end of the day, they made plays at the end to win the game. We're a team that close game. We would be behind or whatever the case may be, and the majority of the time we would make the plays at the end of the game to win. But we lost the turnover battle that game. We lost the penalty battle that game. And ultimately lost the game. So, there's no, at the end of the day, we lost. I'm responsible for it. Didn't get them ready to play. But what also happened that day is I learned a valuable lesson again, right? It's hard. It's hard to win football games. And it's not everybody, and it's not going to be, there's going to be adversity. Are you going to be able to overcome it? Are you not going to be able to overcome it? And, we had a lot of it that afternoon, didn't win the football game, and ultimately ended the streak that we wanted to keep going for a very long period of time. Now, I will say this: it's still Bragg Memorial Stadium is still a very, very tough place to play, but I know we got the opportunity to start a new streak by ending the season against a very, very good Alabama A&M football team. But no excuses. They played better than we did. They won. That's my responsibility, and I got to make sure that something like that doesn't happen again.
Yeah. Coach, let me ask you this. You said that you made a change after the Mississippi Valley game to Henry Burris as your offensive coordinator. In hindsight, I know you can't do things over, but in hindsight, do you wish you had made that decision earlier in the season?
Well, when you're winning games, right? And everything is going well, and and in the beginning of the season, right, we weren't necessarily struggling on offense. Our offense was keeping us in the games, right? We were falling behind, and our offense was making plays at the end of the season, at the end of the games to help us win football games, right? We got behind early against Norfolk State. Offense brought us back. We got behind early against South Carolina State. Offense brought us back, right? We end up playing Troy and UM, right? I mean, those are two FBS programs, so you can't really get a fair gauge of how everything was looking there. But we go to Alabama State, right? We probably play our most complete game of the year that night, and offensively and defensively, we do some good things. We beat Southern. We beat them 28-6 or whatever if I remember the score correctly. So we're winning football games, so you don't necessarily see any of the lapses or see any of the weaknesses until something like that happens, right? So I made the change. For as far as play calling duties, primarily just to light a spark, right? But we did have some questionable things that happened that afternoon that possibly put us in a situation where ultimately ended up us not winning the football game.
Yeah. Let's get into that recruiting, Coach. Of course, you're losing your starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And HBCU, man, most of the guys who win that championship, their quarterback is All-American.
Absolutely.
He's something. Man, who gonna step in that guy's role? He did it, Coach. He could play. He could move the ball, and they had a great one before him. Man, I should say who's the lucky guy. I'm saying who's the guy gonna be able to get it done.
I mean, one of the most important.
Yeah.
I mean, I think one of the most famous and important positions in HBCU is who is the quarterback going to be at Florida A&M, right? I mean, I think the last 3 years, the all-conference quarterback has been, you had Musa for 2 years, and then you had obviously D. Rich this past year. Well, we brought in a young man from Central Michigan, and he's you don't want to put too much pressure on him right now, but he is working with the ones right now, and then you got Junior Meritovich, who battled for the quarterback position.
What year is the first guy?
He's got 3 years left. You know,
Oh,
he played a little bit. He started a couple games last year at Central Michigan. Young man from Lake City, Florida, named Tyler Jefferson. He just throws with the wrong hand. He throws left-handed. It looks pretty, but he just, I don't know how to shake his hand yet because he throws everything left-handed. But he stepped in and he's been here since January, done a good job. But there's so much to being a quarterback, right? Being a starting quarterback. It's not just always just on the field, right? How does he handle himself off the field? Is he gonna be able to bring guys with him, right? Is he setting up the 7-on-7s, right? And on our off days, are the guys gonna believe in him, right? So, we're right in that phase right now, spring practice, of just seeing who's gonna be the guy that the guys believe in. Tyler's, Junior knows our offense a hell of a lot more than Tyler does right now. But Tyler's doing a good job with the football. He's taking care of the football. But we're also giving him bits and pieces, right? We're not giving him our entire playbook right now. So, for the most part, they're doing a good job. He's got 3 years left. I think it'd be irresponsible for me right now to just say where we see him. We just got to let him go through everything in spring. We got an important scrimmage. It's our first scrimmage of the spring. It'll be Thursday, and hopefully I can give you some good reviews after that morning.
Yeah. Okay, Coach. Florida A&M, man. I played them back with Nunley and all them greats, and they've always had a playmaker.
Yep.
And watching y'all against Norfolk and staying with y'all the whole year, I had to be honest, Coach. I just didn't see. I just wasn't truly committed that y'all was gonna roll, because I think y'all missed that big play.
Yep.
I seen you guys against A&M, and I just missed that guy that y'all go-to guy. Did you go out and get one through the portal? Or a couple that you feel that's gonna be that guy?
Well, we only lost one last year, right? We lost number 2, so losing Gassett definitely hurts, but. We were able to keep it. We were able to. We had a guy by the name of Jalen Rattlers that we brought in from Tulane, who's going to be special. He's already lighting it up right now. We call him Speedy, and we call him that for a reason. Obviously, we're bringing back Ace Cobb. He comes back. We're bringing back Quan Lee. He's the guy that comes back, right? You're bringing back Marquez Bell. Guys that played prominent snaps for you. But I think the two guys that are sticking out to me right now. I think for me it's either going to be Wilcher or Rogers, who I think are going to step up the most for us. But we're going to definitely need all these other guys. We're going to definitely need all these other guys to bring them along with us.
Yeah, man, and of course, Florida A&M always had great running attack. Did you bring any offensive linemen up front?
Well, we brought in 2 guys, right? We brought in 2 guys, both, one from Rutgers and another guy from Iowa Central. We got 2 guys, right? We got two guys that are returning all conference guys, right? With Grable and Charles Davis, right? So those 2 guys are both back returning. Ricky Taylor came in. He did a great job for us as well. So, we're still trying to iron out who those first 5 are going to be. Coach Williams coming in as the offense, as the new offensive line coach. I'm giving him the opportunity to evaluate and assess and try to figure out what he wants his best 5 to be as well.
Yeah. Well, let's move to that defense. And I don't know if you remember that Norfolk Media Day when they rushed for about 275, and you admitted that because I thought you had guys that got some portal guys or some transfers, and they really, and I think that was y'all Achilles heel this year. Just my opinion, Coach, you coaching the game. Were you able to patch up that D-line in this recruiting class?
Absolutely, man. That was believe it or not, that was the main focal point. We had to make sure we ironed that out, right? So, we were able to go get D lineman from Virginia. And he's going to be really, really special for us. We were able to sign my man from Kennesaw State, Jahan Myers. So it was we bringing the guys back that we have, right? We didn't lose anybody, but bringing the guys back that we have, that was important. But the guys that we did sign, Jahan Myers, the Elijah Alexanders, big fella, my big man from Virginia. So we that was for us, right? I want us to be able to run the football, but we also got to be able to stop the run. That's how good we'll be. We'll meet our maximum potential by being able to do that, right? So, but I think we finished. I think we finished 7th in the SWAC, if I'm not mistaken, as far as in rushing defense. And
Yeah,
that's not the standard here at FAMU. In 22, I think we were like 4th in the country, and then in 23, the year we won a national championship, we were the number 1. I think we were the number 1 or number 2 rushing defense in the country, right? So, we had to definitely shore that up, and we're excited about where we are. We're excited about the new schematics that we're bringing in, especially I thought we might have got a little bit vanilla also on the defensive side of the football. So, I'm happy with what we're doing, but I'm also excited that, especially with the new guys we got coming in, being able to evaluate and assess them and put them in the right spots as well.
Yeah. Again, coming behind that championship, and Coach Simmons known for offense. Do you change? How much are you guys gonna change? Are you gonna completely make a household change offensively? And I don't know what Coach Simmons called his offense, or do you just kind of piece it together and keep the terminology and let the coordinator learn the terminology instead of all the players, or you guys doing a household change?
No. I mean, we didn't want to change our terminology, right? I thought it was important because when you look at our football team right now, we got 35 seniors, right? 35 guys that were, that's a very, very big number as far as, because like last year we sat at 20, where now this year we got 35. So I didn't want to just go all out and just change our terminology offensively or defensively. Special teams, we got some different things that we may call things, but our terminology it's still there. I didn't want to change all of that, especially with Coach Burris knowing the terminology that we've had over the last couple of years. But anyway, I will say this. I think on defense we are doing some good things, and a lot more things than we may have done in the past. And I'm talking about from 22, 23, and 24, where we're adding some things. I'm able to put some things in place that I really want to do, especially with who we have. But I just think that overall, right? I mean, it was important to bring in guys that have had success in the past, right? Have had at previous institutions, and I was able to do that. But also are going to be able to portray my message and really and give my message to their individual position groups.
Wow. Well, shit, that's good, Coach. I know it's so where you think you guys are at. And then maybe still early, and of course it's still early. And how many weeks y'all been into the spring practice?
Well, we had the our schedule kind of got altered because remember I don't know if you guys remember, we had that week where we had snow, so we lost about 3 or 4 days of lifts. So I thought it was going to be extremely important. I didn't want to lose those days of lifts, so I actually pushed when we would start spring practice. So we started spring practice on a Friday right before spring break. So we had practice. That was our first one. And then we had our spring break. And then last week, we had 3, right? That was practice 4. And then we had practice 5 this morning. So we'll have practice 6 on Thursday, practice 7 on Friday. Believe it or not, our spring game being being April 12th, we'll actually have 1 or 2 more practices after that. So our spring game is actually practice 12 for us practice 13 in our books. Then I'll have practice 14 that Monday and practice 15 that Wednesday after our spring game.
Yeah. So you really this year, what's your overall feeling about your recruiting? Because you did have this time an opportunity to start early and start in December, the first recruiting up to now.
I'm excited about who we got. I'm excited about who we have, right? That we kept, right? We didn't have very much portal action from our players, after the season. Minus the guys obviously that graduated. So, I'm happy with the 19 to 20 guys that we did bring in. Portal opens back up, April 16th, which is again right after our spring game. So, I think, there are some pieces that I think we definitely need to add. You know, that's what the portal's for, right? Being able to go through a semester, assess who you have, and then go once that portal opens up, you know, see where you may find, right? Because they're going to be in there. There's guys in the portal right now, right? Still, you know, looking for schools and things like that. So I just think that for us, you know, it's we got to assess the guys that we have, obviously guys that are still with us. And then make the proper decision and see what positions we may need to add from the portal.
Coach, in your championship season, you guys had a guy that played linebacker for you guys, but I believe his name was Isaiah Major.
Yes, sir.
Tremendous player.
Yes,
tremendous
sir.
player. One of my favorites since I've been watching the SWAC the last 5 years. It didn't seem to me that you guys were able to find the same level of play on the field at that position. Do you have guys in the fold that could possibly replicate some of what Isaiah Major was able to do on the field for you guys a couple of years ago?
When you mentioned him, you're mentioning an All-American. You're mentioning a guy who I think I wonder if I remember correctly, he was the SWAC player, defensive player of the year.
Absolutely.
You know, and he was a special guy. You know, and not very many people can even duplicate that, right? That type of year. But for what we're doing on defense, we got to be athletic. You know, at that position, and you could just tell we weren't moving the way we needed to move. You know, you brought up the Norfolk State game, right? And I'm sitting here, and you know they open up the game and they run. I think it was either 78 or an 80-yard touchdown run. You know, and you know, in the back of my mind, I'm sitting here in 2023. That guy wouldn't have taken that 50 yards because we would have had 3 or 4 guys off of that 23 team that would have went and got him. You know, they would have went and got him, you know, and so, you know, I think that, you know, we had to address some things offensively and defensively, but regardless of whether it was offense or defense, the one main thing on both sides of the football that we needed to address was guys that can run. And I definitely feel that we did that. I definitely feel we addressed, we had guys, man, we had to, you know, we had to make some tough decisions on, and that was primarily because they, in my opinion, weren't athletic enough to be a part of our football team, athletic enough to be playing some of the positions that they were playing. So we had to reevaluate, put them at different positions where that at the position that they play, they run better, right, compared to where they may have been last year.
You know, Coach Colzie, to me, as much as we talk about offense and or whatever, the main difference to me in between the 2023 team and the 2024 team, to me, it was obvious. It wasn't necessarily the offense, in my opinion. It was the defensive physicality at the point of attack and the overall defensive team speed. You could see that there was a drop-off there, and I'm glad to hear that you guys have addressed that with recruiting and possibly development, because to me, that was almost like a signature or staple of the defense since I've been watching the SWAC the past 4 or 5 years. You guys always had guys who could run, always was very physical at the point of attack. Mm-hmm. And to be honest with you, I was extremely surprised when Norfolk was able to put up 23 points against you guys. I hadn't seen that by a HBCU team other than Jackson State, I believe.
Well,
since I've been watching.
And you're 100% correct, right? You know, you get a chance to assess. You know, you go through a year. You go through a year, right? And you have to make those strong, not necessarily recommendations. You gotta make decisions, right? And not, you know, as the head coach, not everybody's gonna like the decisions that you make, but you gotta make them, right? And that was the biggest thing for me, right? That was the biggest thing to me. I thought for the most part that we needed to be faster. Right. I mean, and you know, you guys are bringing me film. Hey, coach, do you like this kid? Do you like that kid? My first question was, can he run? Because if he can't run, then, you know, then he can't play for us. Right. And those are all things that, you know, for me, that we definitely had to address. We had to address that. We had to be faster at the cornerback position. We had to be faster at the linebacker position. Hell, we had to be faster at our defensive end position. Those were all things that when we spoke, right, we talked about. So, you know, I that was just things that, you know, again, you know, sitting back, looking at it, thinking about it, you know, this was being a part of the 22 team, being on the staff in 22, being on the staff in 23. and then obviously being the head coach on the 24th season, right? You know, I just think that we needed to make some changes, and we did.
Hey, Coach, we got over 200 people on this stream. First off, I'd like to ask everyone to go ahead and like the stream and subscribe if you already have it. We're going to have Coach on just for a little while longer. So if you have any questions you guys would like to ask Coach Colzie, please type it in right quick. Maybe we can get to it. He said he didn't mind answering a few questions from you guys. So if you have a question just type it in.
I do have one question. Can we ask Adrian Cook what our record is against Southern the last 3 years? I mean, that guy's acting like you know, I can read. So just ask him what the record is. Ask him just ask him what the record is, and then maybe we go from there.
They haven't sniffed a victory against Florida A&M in the last 3 years, Coach. I'm just gonna be perfectly honest with you.
You know, I'll tell you this now. I'll tell you this. I do know them suckers there. Them guys on the hoof, they look good, but they had some good looking players, and you know, we worry about to be honest with you, and I'm joking a little bit. There is some joke, but I'm impressed. I'm impressed with what they do. And we got to go to them this year, so I might want to pipe down what I'm saying right now. We got to go to Baton Rouge. So forget what I said.
Wait, Coach, you know, while we waiting on some people to call, well, how you feel about the new coaches? You got All-Pro Michael Vick, you got All-Pro Jackson, and now you got Reggie Barlow at Tennessee State. They all around you.
Well, hey man, I'm just glad I ain't got to tackle them or play against them, right? But you know, it just says a lot about the league. You know, obviously interested in you know, the guys that are getting the opportunity to coach. These guys are some of the greatest players in the history of the game, right? And I know I'm excited. You know, if we get a chance to play against one of the teams in the Celebration Bowl, we won't get a chance to play. It'll only be one of them, right? But you know, obviously, you know what they're going to bring to the table at the institutions that they're at. I'm excited for them, and hopefully they have success, except against Florida A&M.
Right.
I'd like to add this, Coach Colzie. There's someone, our research department just put in our notes that Florida A&M against Southern, the last 10 games, Florida A&M has won 8 games and Southern has won 2. So,
okay. So I can only base it on you know, I can only base it on you know, me when I was at FAM, right? I like the zero part, but I'll say this. Coach Graves is, you know, Coach Graves and I, we reached out to each other when we both got the opportunity to be named the head coaches at our institutions, and you know, I got a lot of respect for what Coach you know, I got a lot of respect for what he's doing and what he's done. You know, obviously, you know, he's got a great institution. He's got a great place that he's coaching at, and you know, and I was, believe it or not, cheering for him when there was the SWAC championship game. So, but got a lot of respect for what him and his staff is doing over there at Southern. And believe me, you know, not to jump ahead on games, but I mean, that Southern game obviously is going to be one of the toughest games in the country.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, I personally, we got a lot of foolishness going on in the chat, Coach. But there were a couple questions earlier, and this is something that I don't care about it or whatever. But I wanted to ask you, Coach, what's your role with umpiring? Because they keep mentioning your role as an umpire. I don't understand whether it's relevant, but could you explain what your role as an umpire is?
Yeah,
and Coach, and if you don't want to address that, man, you don't.
Oh no, it's you know, I told you I don't run from questions. I mean, I answer them if they're asked, right? But you know, for the last probably 18, 19 years, I've been an SEC umpire. I've worked SEC, you know, in Big 12, a lot of different conferences, and so but as an umpire, you know, you want to be as low key as you can be, right? You know, and I've been working that for a long time. Before I came to Florida A&M, before I was a head coach in Canada, before I was a defensive back coach at West Georgia, and my father is actually in the Hall of Fame, in the FHSAA Hall of Fame as an official, right? So, it's been something I've done for quite some time. Hell, like I said, I probably since 2006 or 7, I've been doing it. So, but it's something I've done for a long time. But my main deal, right? My job 1, job 2, and job 3 is being the head football coach at Florida A&M, and so it was asked about over the weekend, and so that's just probably where maybe that comes from. But at the end of the day, my main goal, keeping the main thing is being the head football coach at the best university, at the best HBCU/best university in the country.
Will that be something you continue to do, or are you suspended as head coach, or put it on the back burner until you get ready to retire?
It's definitely on the back burner. You know what I mean? Obviously, the main thing is the main thing, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, it's something that people that know me well or have been around me for a very, very long period of time, coaches, family. You don't just pop up and become an SEC umpire over the weekend.
Absolutely.
And SEC, Big 12. I've worked regionals and super regionals, throughout my time. But I've also been a football coach since 1999. Yeah. And the main thing is being the head football coach at Florida A&M. So that's where it's at. That's where it's at. And but again, been blessed to be successful at both facets in my life, but no, I'm
Coach. I want to say something right quick, Coach, because being an SEC level official is a very prestigious position. You don't get to there without hard work, determination, knowing the game, knowing the rules. And it's an achievement, Coach. And I think it should be looked at as an achievement. Whether you choose to do it going forward, that's your own individual decision. And that's something that you and your institution has to work out. Personally, it's none of my business, but I want to commend you, Coach, because I do know there are not many Black SEC baseball officials. And I want to commend you on that achievement on becoming a Division I-A official, because I know how rare that truly is, especially in the sport of baseball.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Coach, I want to piggyback off that because I referee now, and now that I see the money, refereeing is a career, and I'm talking to the audience. To get that far in the SEC to be umpire, my daughter's boyfriend right now is or fiance right now is in Florida, and he's moving into, possibly the majors. And now that I'm refereeing, I've refereed with some guys that refereed in the SEC and the Pac-10 and the Pac-12. And I want to let the audience know they get paid. They get paid, and it's a career. And it's rare. Just everybody can't do that. Everybody can't go that far. It's almost like making Major League Baseball. It's almost like making the NFL. And when you start getting up there, man, you must be a bad boy. You've been doing it for a long time. Hey, Coach, you Dion point 2.75. You can win a national championship, then fly you over there and umpire the goddamn SEC championship.
Well, but I need to reiterate though the importance of making sure that I'm taking care of Florida A&M football. That is the biggest thing. That is the biggest thing that I do. But ultimately at the end of the day, right? Great achievement. Been doing it for a long time. Been successful doing it for a long time. But also I've been a successful coach for a long time as well. And then the main thing is being the head football coach at Florida. That is
Coach,
biggest.
I didn't know what they mean. Rocky, did you understand? I didn't know what they were talking about.
That is the biggest thing that I do on a daily basis. That's the biggest thing on a daily basis.
Coach, let me ask you this here, Coach. Well, I'm gonna tell you this here, Coach. You win that Celebration Bowl, you can call whatever the heck you want to call. I want to be honest with you, Coach. That's what this really is all about. If you win, you can do what you want to do. Won't nobody have nothing to say about it. And again, it's funny how an afternoon in February, a Saturday afternoon in February, they can make it seem like it has something to do with a fall afternoon in November, which I understand that. Anyway, Coach, one probably has nothing to do with each other.
We good.
But,
No.
Look, somebody see, we black folks. See, I can talk for you, Coach. You ain't gotta talk. We want to get in black folks' pocketbook. His pocketbook too long, he need to be here. You know what I mean? The guy got a life outside of football. It's a life outside of football. You know, what my life was, I like to go boating. And I remember I was at Alabama State, and I was on the front page of the newspaper because they were talking about what do coaches do on the off season. It's like we don't have a life on the off season, because guess what? When they call your name and take your whistle, Rocky, and get your cleats, you got to fall back on something. You know what I'm saying? But Coach, I know that hearing about you, talking to some people about what kind of man you are, what kind of guy you are, man, I know for a fact that stays on your mind 24/7. Hell, you probably behind the damn mound and here come a fastball. You say, damn it, we got to call such and such. Make sure we get that recruit. So I know what it is, Coach. Yeah. And you can multitask. So I commend you for that, man. And hopefully the 4 them Rattlers get behind you, because I don't think they understand. You took over a championship program. You know what I'm saying? And you weren't able to make no moves, and you really didn't want to make no moves until you found out who you was working with, man. And that's a tough position. And that's why, Coach, I fight with these folks on all these celebrity coaches they trying to bring in with no coaching experience. I know I'm saying it, Rocky. I bring it up every day that they can sit somebody in that head coaching spot. That's a hell of a spot. The CEO is a hell of a spot. So again, Coach, you keep up the good work, man, on that, and just make sure, man, like Rocky said, boy, you got to take them to the championship, baby.
The goal, that's the goal. And they don't want you just playing in the Celebration Bowl. They want you winning it. If we get all the way to Atlanta, you might as well go ahead and win it. I think.
Hey, Coach, let me ask you this. I got 2 questions about your defense coordinator, because I really wanted to step in there, but Coach was asking you some questions. one, is he a HBCU guy? And number 2, is he a former NFL guy?
Yes, he's been at the HBCU level. He's been at the FBS level, and he has spent some time in the NFL. So, yes.
Coach, I can't wait, Coach.
Yeah, I can't wait. We sit down and we go over stuff, and he's not to discredit anything with Coach Patterson did a hell of a job. Now Coach Patterson did such a good job that the darn Patriots they took him. But our guys, we're just doing some things a little bit differently. We still have our base and how we do things, and we want to get after the quarterback, and we're just doing some things just a little bit differently, and I like it. I love it. Guys are flying around. Guys are really, really adjusting to what we're doing, and I'm excited about what we're doing.
What's the timeline on the announcement, Coach?
For which one? DC?
DC, yes.
It'll be this week. Just ironing out some details. He's got some stuff that he needs to take care of, and
is he currently employed, Coach?
Say it again.
Is he currently employed?
No, you mean with us or somewhere else?
Somewhere else.
No. He's with us. He's with us.
Oh, okay.
He's here. He's here. I mean, he's here.
Oh, okay.
Just got to finalize the details, with him. That's all. But he's here. He's here.
All right. Awesome, Coach. Yes. Hey, Coach Colzie, I want to thank you for coming on. And Coach Campbell, Coach Cole, is there anything else you would like to ask before we let him go? Because we got to get started with Reggie Barlow in about 10 minutes. So
yeah, Coach, I always appreciate you, man. And from from the day I got in touch with you, you never hesitated. you felt that not just me, but our audience and how you feel about HBCU football means a lot to me. Me and you've talked about it, and you respect the game, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the work you put in, and I look for big things out of Florida A&M and putting them back where they're supposed to be.
Guys, I appreciate your time and your candor and your transparency, man. And because last time I was with you guys, I didn't know how to get on the comment section. But hell, if you heard me stammering and stuttering, that was because I was looking at the comment section. We
got good people, Coach. We got football folks listening to us, Coach. My audience know. We don't do that, Coach. We don't do that on here. This show. We don't use the N-word. We don't do all that here. We talk football.
I know this. I appreciate you guys. I see the passion with the fans and across the country. Now, obviously, this is not just FAMU. This is everybody. Almost every single team. That's being recognized and things of that nature. But looking forward to doing this again. Looking forward to doing this again. And I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate everybody in the comments. And hopefully, everybody has a great season this upcoming year.
Thank you, Coach.
Let me take it down. Man, that was a really cool interview with Florida A&M head football coach James Colzie. We appreciate him coming on right in the middle of spring football. I didn't realize that that all these guys are right in the middle of spring football now, and so he mentioned a few things. He has a defensive coordinator and an edge coach that they're going to announce later on this week. He also mentioned that their spring game is on April the 12th. And so it's cool. Coach, I just wanted to ask you this here, Coach. Is it often that you have practices after the spring game?
Yeah, that's not normal. It ain't abnormal, but it's not normal that somebody after you play the spring game, you continue to practice, unless something happened. As of let's just say you had a real rainy season, in Florida, they have a lot of rainy seasons. So sometimes you don't take those days, but you got that spring game marked. And let's say you got, because you get 15 days, let's say you got 3 more days, then you'll say, okay, after the spring game, we'll come back and do some of those 3 days. But that's not a normal way of how the spring works.
Hey guys, I'm gonna put this link to the Reggie Barlow broadcast there. We're about to end this one, and in about 2 minutes, we'll crank it up, and Coach Barlow's gonna be on with us. I want to thank everybody.
Is he in the green room?
Not yet, Coach. We have to shut this down and open it back up. So
yeah, and I want to just say one thing too. And that's why the show is good, Rocky, that we didn't know nothing about this baseball thing. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully it puts some of the Florida A&M fans at ease, about what Coach is doing, on his free time. You know what I mean? That's his free time. So hopefully that the Florida A&M fans understand that, there's life after football and in between football. You know what I mean? So hopefully that helps out, some of the calls.
Hey, look who showed up right before we about to end this. Hey, Mr. Campbell, we're about to end it. But if I'll give you a minute since this is your school, your coach,
hey man,
and everything.
Listen, all I'm gonna say is, Coach did hey, family first, FAMU family, you know what I mean? But I'm gonna say this, Coach didn't say, hey man, listen, Deion Fishers. You got coaches that coach their little league teams.
That's right.
You got folks that have gone out. Hey, Eddie Robinson say he ride that bike for 50 miles. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So the one thing I think that's important is that it is a great article. Coach talked about this. This is a hobby for him. He enjoys it. But again, the main thing is the main thing. You ain't gonna see him coaching out there in Oklahoma at the College World Series or anything like that. He is focused on making FAMU a champion. That's all that I care about, man. So I'm glad Coach got to address that because, again, man, social media is social media. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So Coach
but
addressed that.
yeah, and let me say that's a big thing, man. That umpiring coach, that's big.
Yeah.
You know, it ain't time consuming because you gotta have some downtime. You know what I'm saying, coach? Like you said, some coaches coach a little league team, ride bikes, ride boats, play golf.
All that.
It's basically the same thing, but he's just making money at it.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it. And again, it's a love. You know what I mean? It's something that he loves to do. I respect that.
It sounds like it's a family tradition.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I want to say. His father was an official that's in the Officials Hall of Fame, and I'm sure it's a way for him to stay connected to his father. And so I commend him for that. But it looks like there's no doubt about it. Coach Colzie understands what's expected of him, and he understands that Florida A&M win the championship is his top priority. He knows that, and there was never any question about that.
100%.
Hey, we finna shut this down, man. Hey, I put the link. I'll put it in there again, and you'll be able to catch us with Coach Barlow in just about 2 minutes.
Yep, right. Still on Off Script, still on Rocky's channel.
Yep.